Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel, God, Grace Offered Daily. Just coming on here this morning to share a little something that happened to me just a little bit ago. I went to my bank, going to the ATM, and I am a freedom-loving, United States of America-loving patriot. And I saw a woman out front of my bank that was wearing a white sweater with a red, white, and blue flag on it, and she was holding an American flag on a stick, a pretty good sized flag. And so I thought, well, this is pleasant in a sort of a liberal community to see. And so I decided to ask. I said, well, she was by herself, so I said, that's not a very big protest, just one person. And she kind of perked up and walked over to me, and she said, well, it starts at 11 o'clock. And I said, what's it about? And she said, Trump. And I said, what about it? And she says, no kings. And I said, why do you think he's a king? And then she proceeded just to say that he's done a lot of bad things in his life, especially to women. He's hateful. He doesn't help anybody. He doesn't feed anybody. He doesn't care about anybody. And so I said, you realize he doesn't take a paycheck? And she's like, so what? He's rich. And he plays golf all the time. And we pay millions of dollars for him to play golf. And I'm just thinking, this is, it's some crazy stuff to say. I mean, I golf, people golf, presidents golf all the time. So the comparison to make is, Joe Biden maybe didn't golf all the time, but he was at the beach all the time. And nobody seemed to be worried about that. So it's just odd. And I was wanting to have a decent conversation just to see more about, what the protest is for and what the goal is. But it's interesting to me. I've seen this every time with the people, which I would call the anti-Trumpers, or those people that have the Trump derangement syndrome. They can't really have a conversation. They'll protest and say no kings, but they can't really elaborate on anything that's been, so terrible that he's done or hasn't done. I wanted to have the conversation that, the gas prices are way, 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 way lower than they were during this last term. She actually made a point to say that people were so worried about Joe Biden's decline, but Trump's is much worse. So, just trying to have a normal conversation. And I was beyond polite, smiling the entire time, but she just didn't want to engage anymore in a healthy conversation, and just turned around and walked away and said, good luck. And I said, it's a shame that we can't have a normal conversation. And again, she just kept saying good luck, and was walking away. So I don't know what good a protest does if you're just going to stand out there with a sign that says no kings and not have anything to say about it, not have any solutions about it, and not willing to have a normal conversation with somebody that maybe feels differently than you. That's what Charlie Kirk's whole not his whole mission, but that's what he wanted to do, was engage with people that disagreed with him. I think that's an incredibly healthy thing to do. But these people standing out there with the no king signs in a protest, why they're holding American flags, I just don't get it. Because it's not the American way to celebrate when somebody's killed, because they don't agree with you. And Charlie Kirk led a lot of people to Christ, led a lot of people back to church, led a lot of people back to reading the Bible. And, he was murdered. And a lot of people that are standing at these protests are the ones that are happy about it and celebrate it. And that is not the America I grew up in. that is not in any way, shape, or form freedom or patriotism or love or anything of the above. And you forget, too, the people that are protesting, holding flags up. Donald Trump was elected in a landslide. It wasn't even close. Plus, he won the popular vote. So to stand out there with flags, you are telling the majority of the country, everyone that voted for him, that they're stupid. And I think that's ridiculous.